Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Monday, the 26th of Muharram, 1445, corresponding with the English date, 14th of August, 2023. Hazrat Wala is saying that make dua, carrying on. I can't even understand or think what should I talk about. Nevertheless, I have in front of me Maktubat Masumiya. Hazrat Khaja Muhammad Masoom, 7,000 Khalifas. He is saying, Dar jaha shahide wama farig, dar kada jur'a wama hushyar. Meaning that in the dunya, the beloved is present. However, you are completely independent and free of that, sitting so comfortably. In front of you, you have the drink of love. But you are not even taking it and drinking from it so that you can become intoxicated, meaning spiritually. Nevertheless, Allah Ta'ala हम सबको इस शराब के हक अदा करने की तौफीक दे, that this drink, the drink of the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of fulfilling that haqq. इधर देखा, उधर देखा, इसे देखा, उसे देखा, न देखा यार को अगयार में देखा तो क्या देखा? You look this way, you look that way, you looked at this one, you looked at that one. In all of this, you did not see Allah amongst everything else. Then what did you really see? You know, the people of Gujarat like these couplets because it is easy and it's simple. They like this couplet. You know, the imtiazi thing and point of the Hazrath and Naqshbandiya, the saints of the Naqshbandi silsila or order, is the khas is this, their khalwat dar anjuman, that even though they may be amongst or in public, in essence, they are in solitude, completely, totally connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Majme mein hote hue, khalwat mein rehte. While they are sitting in a gathering, they are still in solitude. They cannot even leave Allah for even one moment, no matter what's their lot, if they are in ease or in difficulty, in poverty or in riches, whatever the halat, whatever the condition is, they are in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On one occasion, in one majlis, Hazrat Tanvi said that बाज़ लोग हमारी मजलिस में इस तरह बैठते हैं कि उनको दुनिया व माफीहा की खबर नहीं होती. Some people come and sit in my majlis, they are in such a state or spiritual state that they are completely oblivious of the dunya and what it contains. Hazrat Khaja Azizul Hasan Sahab, he said, मौली वसीउल्लाह, हज़रत तुम्हारे मुतालिक कह रहे, कभी सुने? Did you hear this before? That Maulana Wasiullah Hazrat is saying and reading these couplets regarding you. He used to sit in such a way and in such a manner. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is speaking about himself. He says that li ma'allahi waqtun la yasa'ani fihi malakun muqarrabun wala nabiyyun mursalun, that for myself I enjoy with Allah a certain time in which no angel which enjoys close proximity to Allah, malak muqarrab, can even come between me and Allah, come to me at that time, neither can any commissioned prophet even come at that time. So it is Mehu or Yade Dost. It is me and the remembrance of Allah. Now Maulana Abdul Bari Nadwi, you must have heard his name. He came to spend 40 days with Hazrat Tanvi. And afterwards, when he came to Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, he said, Hazrat, aapko, aap tanabaun rahe? Ha, bahut raha. Hazrat, did you stay in Tanabon? Yes, I stayed a lot. Aapko nahi dekha? I didn't see you. Hum to tikane nahi gaye? I didn't go there to make myself expose or expose myself to somebody else, show people that I am there. But Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab then remarked and said, yes, I saw you. Nevertheless, during the day, he would carry out the malfuzat, the writing, the works of Hazrat Tanvi, and after that, jungle ki raah pakarte the. Then he used to go into solitude, go and sit alone. Allah sabko pahunchaye. Allah Ta'ala let everybody reach that goal and the destination of the proximity, the qurb of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, whether they are in the state of health or sickness, whether they are in treasures or in poverty, whatever their state is. So in the state, when a person is in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, dunya ka koi haraj nahi hota hai. He is not affected then by the dunya. Okay, so we carry on now to another malfuz which Hazrat Wala then reads. He said, Mulazamat Okay, just wanted to write that. मुलाजमत ज़िक्र का इस माना के है कि बराबर यह कोशिश करता रहे कि गैर हक के ज़िक्र से नजात पा जाए. What is this मुदावमत, consistency and punctuality with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? It comes under the ambit or this meaning here that a person continuously tries and makes an effort in such a way that he gains salvation from the remembrance of anything else other than Allah. Allahu Akbar. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam himself prohibited or cautioned the Sahaba from sitting on the street corners and in the pathways. Why? So that they could be protected from so many things. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is saying, Ittaqillaha haythuma kunta, fear Allah wherever you may be. In fact, وَأَتْبِئِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا, and after that, on the basis of being human, it's greatly possible that you could commit a sin. But if that happens, then carry out a good deed, for it will wipe out that sin. Hazrat Tanvi used to say, at least say Astaghfirullah, and don't delay it for another time. It's not hard at all, this tariq and this path. You know. So Hazrat Tanvi used to say that at the time of Isha the sin is committed, then don't wait for the time of Tahajjud to make Tawbah. You know, I'm telling you, such kehta ho, honestly, that when I go on Safar, this hadith comes to mind so much. Balke, rather, we should keep it in mind all the more because we are exposed to so many other things. You know, on the occasion when I went to America, Canada there, Niagara Falls, when I went there, one person remarked and he said that don't go there. This nur will be then depleted and eventually vanish, referring to the nur of the heart, addressing Hazrat. So nevertheless, Hazrat Wala is saying, I went and on the trust of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and bach bhi sakte hai, a person can protect himself and save himself. One person said, he was in London, he said that, Hazrat, yaha to guna se kaisa bacha jaye? He went to London and he says, now here in London, Europe, how will we stay away from sin? So Hazrat Wala is saying, I said to him, Jaise Bombay mein bacha jata hai. You will stay away from sin, like just how you stayed away from sin, or people stay away from sin here in Bombay. La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah will not compel you and burden you with that which is beyond your capacity. Like how namaz and roza Allah had made easy for you, similarly for your nafs to abandon those sins will be easy for you. The tazkiyah of the nafs is for every individual. It is for that reason that Allah Ta'ala had based success upon it. I mean, if all success lies in it, then most definitely it would be for everybody. And if it is for everybody, it would be easy. So success is based on that, and it is for every person. Allah Ta'ala give us a good understanding of this tariq and this path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sometimes we used to go to the Hakim, and it used to happen like this, that when we would get the appointments, it would be the lunch time in the meal time of Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab. But when he knew that we left the four walls of the Khanqa and we went out into town, then he would become restless. He would not have his meals until that time that we would return. So this is the type of nigrani that Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to have of us. This is how closely he would see that what we were supposed to be doing. Even when a person commits a sin, the angel even goes on to say, Hazrat Tanvi has written this year, that don't write yet, don't write. It's greatly possible that he will make a tawbah. So don't make intizar or wait for the time of tahajjud. Rather tawbah immediately. Hazrat Fazl ibn Abbas was with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the same conveyance, and then he is captivated by the beauty of a certain woman, due to which he starts looking at her. At that time, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not even before verbally, physically takes his Mubarak and blessed hands and turns his face away from that direction in which he is looking. Now here, Hazrat Wala is drawing our attention to this part, saying that when they mounted, in this particular narration, we don't hear or read anything about Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling him to make dhikr, referring to this part. In this particular hadith, there's no mention made that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him to read the dua for mounting. But Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam made islah of the nafs, due to which Hazrat Wala then gives us the total sum and sums it up for us, saying that tasawwuf sirf zikr ka naam nahi. Tasawwuf is not only the name of carrying out the dhikr of Allah, rather islah nafs ka naam hai. Truly, in the true sense, it is can be encapsulated in this, that tasawwuf, it is the name or of reformation of the nafs. Certain person used to come to Hazrat Tanvi, and then immediately he used to start off with the dhikr of zikrullah. Hazrat Tanvi would then comment that, listen, you came because of me, you came here to me. Now I didn't tell you to start making dhikr. Why did you start making dhikr? It could greatly be possible that I wanted to fix your nazra up. In fact, when Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, when they went, they were fari from Darul Uloom Deoband, then too he started them off with Surah Fatiha, with that type of an importance, that read Surah Fatiha to me. Let me see if your Surah Fatiha is correct. This is what you are reading in your every salat. He made them make mashq of Surah Fatiha. So make tawbah immediately. It will not be written down for you. The sin. Hazrat Tanvi used to say a lot that today's guna, don't leave the tawbah of it for tomorrow. So he made Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab make mashq of Suratul Fatiha. Hazrat ko bahut khayal tha. And this was the amount of nigrani. I'll tell you, once we went like that and we went into town and time went on and we did not come back. In fact, we even read our Maghrib Salat at that venue and not with Hazrat or back in the Khanka. Nevertheless, on return, Hazrat to khafa to ho gaya. Hazrat he was totally upset and angry at this year. That how is it that you people even read Maghrib Namaz in the bazaar and in the marketplace? So here we are saying that अपने को यकसू करना चाहिए. You need to take yourself and remove yourself or remove all other thoughts from everything else other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala Sayyidul Mahbubin. Allah is the leader of the beloveds. We love this one or that one, but our love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supersedes and overwhelms the love for anything or everything else. Now tell me, if you have that open place, open, no rules, anybody whomsoever wishes to enter can enter. Whoever comes, whoever goes. Tell me, will any sharif or honorable person enter such a place? No, never ever. No ways. Then tell me what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coming into that heart which is left completely open, that anybody or anything comes in that heart and leaves from that heart. Allah is more nobler than that sharif person, that Allah will not come into that heart. तो qalb को गैरुल्लाह से खाली करो. Empty that heart of everything else other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have takhliya and tahliya. Takhliya is freeing your heart from everything else, and the tahliya is the adorning and embellishing one's heart with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Especially people like us who are in the last portions of our life, all the more. So I'm saying Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab got angry and scolded us, reprimanded us, but खूने दिल पीने को, लख्ते जिगर खाने को, यही ग़िज़ा मिलती है जाना तेरी दीवाने को. So you would have to undergo some type of difficulty and sacrifice. So Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu dhkurullaha dhikran kathira. O people of Iman, remember Allah abundantly. وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Remember Allah abundantly so that you can become successful. You know, people used to object to those holding the tasbih in their hands. Now what's this? They're holding the tasbih and this and that and the other. So Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to say in refutation of that to us, that take a bigger tasbih and walk with a bigger tasbih now. فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Remember me and I shall remember you. Allama Ibn Qayyim and Hazrat Gangohi, both of them, Muhaqqiqeen Hazrat, both of them had come to the same conclusion, that there is no greater merit for the dhikr and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than that which is mentioned in this particular ayat, فَذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرُكُمْ, that where insan who is zakir and in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remembers Allah, he becomes mazkur, he is being remembered by Allah, and Allah then becomes zakir, Allah starts thinking and remembering him. Now that's how much he is appreciated, or it is appreciated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, the house was just there at the corner of the main juncture, main road there. So from there, wedding parties used to pass, etc. And the sounds of music, etc. would come, due to which Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to say, कि सबका जिक्र हो रहा है, Allah का नहीं. That they're making mention of this and that and the other and singing and dancing, but nothing about Allah. And then he would start off with making mention about the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and mentioning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. On another occasion, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab was there, and he's sitting in his room where the sound of music is penetrating and coming in. And then he looked at me personally, directly, and directs this to me. I was there with him, and he says that, Ab kaise bacha jaye? Now what to do? How to do? How will we save ourselves? Halake, whereas, on the contrary, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, just look at this here. He was known to be a born buzruk from a very young and tender age. His wilayat was so famous and mashhur. His karamat was so common and people knew about it, his miracles. Then too, this was his type of concern, and this what he shared with us, and this was what he taught us about. What to say? We didn't even understand, rather we knew no one else other than him in that time and age. Our Fufi, Hazrat Qari Mubin Saab's mother, she used to say in her own zaban that Maulana nahi rahenge to kya suraj niklega ke nahi? That listen, the day Maulana passes away, referring to Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, tell me, will the sun even rise? That's how much of faith and i'tiqad she had in Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab. She was also a lady who was so pavan with her dhikr, her adhkar. You know, I called Usama. Hazrat Wala is referring to Maulana Abdullah's son, Usama, his grandson, Hazrat Wala's grandson. He said, I called him and asked him, tell me, what's your age? He says, 18. I said to him, from the age of 18, I was reading Bara Zikr. And Baqaida, particularly, meticulously, religiously, we were bound that once a week we had to give ittila ahwal. We had to speak and say about what is our spiritual state at that time. Now this was no ordinary simple thing. You know, if a person's got a pain in his head, then what is the worst case scenario there? Listen, he can deteriorate further, he'll even die. But what can we say about these ailments and these spiritual sicknesses that will take a person directly to Jahannam? So, fadhkuruni adhkurkum, remember me and I shall remember you. If you remember me in solitude, within your hearts of hearts, I will remember you in the same manner also within my heart. I will remember you within myself. If you remember me amongst or in a gathering, I will remember you in a gathering much greater than your gathering. So this year is for all. You know, I went on one occasion, maybe it could have been Maulana, or was it Bhutta Sahab? We went, it was right in the jungles. And there was Quran Sharif and Hifz class, etc. And I was astonished, saying, how come this is there? And they tell me in answer to that, what was it? They said, it is because of this that our hifazat is being made. You know, when I went for the first time to Gujarat, maybe it could have been in 1960 or just after that. And Gujarat was in its uruj. It was in at that time there where it was in its most progressive state. And all over masjids started coming up. And due to which I don't think that there could be many masjids that I did not open, meaning I opened and made the iftitah of those masajid. Coincidentally, Allah Ta'ala made it such that I reached there at that time, and Gujarat was in this particular state at that time. Somebody said, किसी ने कहा कि that, are you Gujarati? So I said, ज़बान में इत्तिफाक नहीं, दिल में इत्तिफाक है. I don't have uniformity in the tongue and in the language, meaning Gujarati. I don't know that. But most definitely, I am connected to these people. Our hearts are connected. But by me just saying that much brought so much of happiness to these people. Then looking at the Sahif-e-Marifat, Hazrat Wala then quotes. He says it comes in the hadith that Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed your ummah. Allah is saying that I have blessed your ummah with such a ni'mat that I did not bless any other ummah with. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam then inquires that what is that ni'mat? Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam then answers and says, the verse which Allah Ta'ala has given you, or this ni'mat or this treasure of فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. This is the speciality of this ummah. It was granted to none other than this ummah, not to Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam or any other Nabi. So afdalu dhikr la ilaha illallah, and afdal dua is alhamdulillah. Now tell me, this one here of fadhkuruni adhkurukum, that it was not granted to any other ummah. Sab allama bane bete. They are all sitting like allamas here. Just see. Did you even know that? I go to Deoban and that, and I tell them, they all studying and going through the Shuruhat of Bukhari Sharif and that. Yes, all of that in its place. But tell me, did you go through Amirul Riwayat? Did you go through Amirul Riwayat, which speaks about the Sirat of our Aslaf? Meyare ikar baseshe ast. Our foundation is on 3. Kitabullah, wa Sunnat Rasul, wa Sirat Salaf. Hazrat Maulana Qasim Saheb, bahut bade aadmi hai. He was a very great personality. Now, you can understand from this year that he used to make zikr bil jahr. That when people used to pass that chamber of his, and when they would hear his voice in the dhikr of Allah, it was such that it would leave them glued to that spot. They were not able to continue. That was the way he carried out his zikr. So if you remember me, then in a gathering, then I will remember you in a gathering which is much more superior than your gathering. Hazrath had great tawajjuh and attention that he paid to zikr. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb. My brother was Hafiz, but when the month of Ramadan used to come, he would say that, and everybody is much engrossed in Quran, but he would say that Zikrullah ka faiz alag, Quran ka faiz alag. The fuyuz and the barakat of dhikr is separate, and the fuyuz and the barakat of Quran is separate. And dhikrullah is mufrad, it is single, it is alone, it is individual, and a tilawat is murakkab, it is gathered, it's together, it's plural, it's much more. Nevertheless, what Hazrat Wala is trying to say that when you get the benefit from dhikrullah, then carry out your tilawat. And Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to even quote this here, a very great sharih of Mishkat Sharif, a commentator of a traditionist commentator on hadith there. When he came to the Sheikh then told him that discontinue tilawat, and he initiated him with the dhikr of Allah. Nevertheless, that became talk of town. Now look at this Sufi here, he even prevents the man from making tilawat. Nevertheless, after some few days, he said to him, now you may start with the recitation of the Quran. When he started there, such type of nur was perceived that he started tasting the sweetness of the recitation of the Quran Majid, meaning that type of kayfiyat already was created by means of zikr. He was accustomed and started becoming acquainted. So zikr mufrad hai and tilawat murakkab hai. So to get to dhikr is easier than that of tilawat. So a person should carry out abundant dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Coming from Hazrat Tanwi, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, carrying out the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 12,000 times. Ismezat. You know, on one occasion he asked me, it was the initial stages, I just got married there and I came, and he asked me, tell me how much of zikr do you make? And I said, 3,000. Nevertheless, he was upset at the answer that I gave him. And he said, but 3,000 is not even the start. It starts from 6,000. He was very, very manus with dhikrullah. What about the waqia and the incident that Hazrat Maulana Ali Mia Sahab wrote in his initial small little risalas which are studied in the early years of the Alimiyat, about the waqia which is mentioned in the hadith, that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was en route after a certain expedition coming back to Medina, and Sahaba stopped over to camp. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam also hung his sword on the branch of a tree and laid down to rest. And the next best thing was that this person was there, grabbed the sword of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, now tell me who will prevent me from you, meaning I'm about to finish you off. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam just said once, Allah. But it had such a profound effect on this person that he became absolutely disturbed and nervous, due to which his sword, the sword of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, fell out from his hand. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam picked up the sword and asked him the very same question. Now tell me, who's going to save you now? And then he then says to the effect that you be the better of the taker, meaning you just forgive me. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam forgave him. Now this kitab that I'm reading from, normally we are more acquainted with the name Hazrat Maulana Nur Muhammad Janjanwi. But this personality is also from Janjanwi, and Hazrat Shahul Alameen, Sheikh Abdul Razak Janjanwi rahimahullah, the kitab that I am reading from, Sahaif-e-Marifat. So here, Tabaqat-e-Mashayikh, the Ma'mulat, speaking about it, one was that of La ilaha illallah. The other one was Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Now this was the third kalima. Now over and above the other ijazat, when Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab was teaching us Mishkat Sharif, and he came across this particular hadith, then particularly or individually he said, I want you people to make talqeen of this year to people. Another one was, the third one here that's mentioned here in the kitab is Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum Laysa kamithlihi shay wa huwa as-sami'ul basir. And then Shaykh Abdul Razak then goes on to say that La ilaha illallah. When you choose to do this zikr, then say it. Say La ilaha illallah nine times. And on the 10th time, together with saying La ilaha illallah, join to it Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now you people, bas, that's enough. I can't say more than this. Allah Ta'ala give me complete shifa. All this year is for all. Nobody is excluded from this. There was a Sahabiya and one of the Azwaj, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam left her, and then he came after some many long hours and found her still in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he made talqeen to her of something which could have been read in a shorter time and quicker and easier for her. So the abundance of the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was established there as well. Allah ki zikr mein bari barakat hai. There is tremendous blessings in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this ayat that we were speaking about, Fadhkuruni adhkurkum, both Hazrat Maulana Gangohi and Allama Ibn Qayyim, both of them say that there is no greater verse in the Quran when it comes to the merit, virtue and benefit of the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than what is mentioned in this particular ayat. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ بِحُرْمَةِ سَيِّدِ النَّبِيِّ الْكَرِيمِ صلى الله عليه وسلم.